Hi everyone. I did a session the other day for teaching beginner clogging, and I accidentally forgot to hit record, so we didn't get the whole session. And I know that there are a number of people who are interested in how I teach beginners and what that session was going to incorporate. So thought what I'd do. It's not quite the same. I'm just going to kind of whiz through some stuff, but I thought I'll just do a quick video to go through my thoughts, um, and hopefully have some record of what I chatted about the other day. So I just need to share my screen, my little PowerPoint with you all, and hopefully this will work. You don't want to see that. You want to see this. I would like you to see. There we go. All right. Um, okay, so from the beginning, let's talk about teaching beginners. So I did do another session on just teaching in general. So I'm going to share up that as well, hopefully to perhaps our YouTube channel. But if you do need it, just get in contact and I'll see if I can send it through, but it's a pretty large file. So let's get started with this. Teaching beginners. All right, what are we going to cover? So I'm going to talk about why people attend. I'm sorry if you can see the notes section. I'm not sure exactly what you see with me doing it this way. But anyway, it's a recording, right? So what are we going to cover? Why people attend at all, just to come. Remember, this is about beginner clogging. So the first couple of weeks of people coming to your club. The first session and what I think is important to do, perhaps what not to do. So a basic intro into clogging. So how I like to get people dancing as quickly as possible, because I think that's really important. And then I'll talk about substitution, being able to move forward. And I'll try and think of some of the questions that people had the other day. I'm not sure how we'll go with that. So first up, we talked about why people attend. And I did a quick little poll survey with our dancers. And then we had a quick discussion and other people came up with some ideas. So we're talking about people will attend clogging or your first dance session for a variety of reasons. And it could include mental health. They want to get out of the house. They might work at home and, they need to get out. It could be to keep their mind active. So particularly as people get older, they like to keep their mind active. We've got some people who purely attended a session because, the kids were getting older and they felt that they needed to have a new social outlet. Exercise. Okay, so obviously that's probably top of some of our lists of, why do people come clogging? Because they want to exercise. But the predominant reason that people attended clogging was a lot of them said they saw a demo and it looked fun. So the big focus that we try to go with is making sure that it is fun for the people who attend, not trying to have them be technically correct or, they're balancing the perfect place to start with. It's more about getting them up and having a fun time, definitely for those first few weeks, because that's what's going to hook them and keep them if they're having a really good time. Okay, so number one, team, fun. That's what you've got to keep the focus on the whole time when you're doing your beginner classes. Okay. So the first session and some important things to do. I did touch on this in one of the other seminars that I did, that I had recently started going to Pilates. And the very first day, I almost didn't go back because the instructor that had us, there were only 3 of us in the class. And it was my very first time ever going to a reformer Pilates class. And the instructor she did introduce herself, but she was sitting on the floor working on a laptop. So didn't make chit chat, didn't come over, didn't ask if it was our first time, didn't ask if we had any injuries, didn't really demonstrate anything. And I'm quite a visual learner, so I like to see, what do I have to do? Am I doing it right? I had to really rely on someone else to make sure I was looking like them. So I really was not very impressed and I didn't go back. So, well, I did go back, but only because I was going to a different instructor. So just something to be aware of, that the impression you make on your beginners on that very first time they come into your venue, hall, whatever, is make or break. Okay, so be mindful of that. All right, so some tips I've got is to introduce yourself to each new person before you start the lesson, if possible. Okay, I know it's really tempting, and it's, I don't find it an easy thing to do, but it's really important that you go up to each one of the people who have come in individually and introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Leanne. Welcome. We're really glad that you could make it here tonight. Hopefully we're going to have some fun. Have you seen clogging before? Where did you see it? Did you come with someone? Whatever. Just make some small talk and get to know that person and introduce yourself. It just creates a little connection, and it stops you from being this, hoity instructor that is not approachable, to all of a sudden, oh, this is someone I can really talk to if I need to. Try to learn some people's names. I said I'm really bad. Okay, names is not my forte at all, and it takes work. Jason, quizzes me on the nights on the way home, and he says, who's such and such, and I'm likely to say the lady in the red pants, because I'm, like I said, I'm very visual, so that's how I kind of will associate people. But try to learn a couple of their names, and even if it's not everybody, that's okay. It's very psychological, because you can say, great job, Mary, well done, or, oh, Tammy, can I, if you just move your weight to the left, you'll be all right, whatever it is. And the rest of the class, you might not even know their names, but they feel like, well, if she knows their name, she's going to know my name, So, try and just remember a couple of names and use them, and it will actually go a long way. All right. Have someone else collect the money for you. So you need another club member, obviously, who, works closely with you, that you trust. But it gives you two good things. First off, it frees you up to go around and meet everybody else, like we just talked about, and not bogged down with just collecting money. And the second thing, it allows dancers to meet and connect with somebody else in the class. So it's not just the instructor. If they've got any questions and you're busy, then all of a sudden they have someone else that they can go to. So have someone else do that for you. Explain how the session will run. Now, everybody's beginner sessions will go a little differently. I have a Monday night class, and we start at 6, go through to 6:45, and then that's kind of it. It's almost like a little mini class for them. And that's how I need to run it, because Monday nights is pretty tight with the timing I've got. Friday nights, we do half an hour. So we run 7 to 7:30 with beginners, and then we give them a little rest while the other dancers get up into easy intermediate level. They'll do 20 minutes just to warm them up, and then we'll get the beginners back up. And sometimes we find then that the other, the next level, more experienced dancers, some of them are advanced dancers, they'll get up and dance just with the beginners in that second lot particularly. And I didn't realize, I didn't even say this the other night, but some of our beginners were like, oh, we must be getting really good, because the harder level dancers are happy to get up and dance with us. So it's kind of really nice as you progress through, if you've got time and can do that kind of situation and get them up and down, just to, it helps blend that class a little bit. So, but just explain how it's going to run. As adults, we like to know what's going to happen. All right. We don't want to be surprises. We don't want to be like, oh, so are we here for half an hour? Are we here for 40 minutes? Like, do we have any breaks? Do I need to bring my drink bottle on the floor? What's the go? So just explain how your session will run. All right. Be relaxed. They're going to take their cue from you. So if you are absolutely packing it on that first night, they're going to be nervous too. All right. So fake it till you make it, guys. Just be relaxed. Don't talk too much at the start. So if you get everybody up on the floor and then you start, hi, I'm Leanne. I've been clogging for this long. I've been running a club for 33 years, all of that. Clogging, is from the Appalachian Mountains in America, la, la, la. It starts to feel like a lecture, and that's not what they're there for, okay? You shouldn't need to introduce yourself, hopefully, because you already spent the time before class as people were coming in. And if somebody arrives late, you can always say, hi, I'm Leanne. I'll catch up with you in a break, right? So yeah, don't talk too much, get them up and dancing. Be kind and encouraging. Okay. They are so nervous. And I really feel it because, recently, like I said, with my whole Pilates thing, it was a bit humbling, to be honest with you, after teaching something for so long, to go back and be a brand new beginner at something. And it's really intimidating. Okay. You're like, oh, please don't look at me. I might be making mistakes, or, you just don't know. So just be kind, be encouraging. You can use terms like well done, or oh, good job, guys, you got that. Or, pick Mary out. Mary, you are a natural. Like, look at you go. Or how good are we all? Like, we just picked that up in 5 minutes. So they're just some simple terms that you can use, very generic, but don't use them all at once, okay? Because then it sounds rehearsed. So you want to sound genuine about it, and be genuine about it. Like, be proud of them. They didn't know how to do, a triple before they walked into you. So give them a bit of encouragement. And then provide that individual support if it's required. Okay. But try not to make it a private lesson in front of everyone. So I don't think that there's a problem if you look around and, Mary's just, she's not counting a 3, right? She's not doing that triple because she's not counting 3. You go, Mary, let's count that together. 1 and 2 and 3, right? You can do that kind of thing. But I wouldn't say, okay, Mary, let's count 3. Let's do it together. 1, 2. Yeah. Okay. You got it. Let's just try it again. Because now everybody else is like, oh, well, what are we doing here? Because, all the focus on Mary. So yeah, just be mindful of that. Definitely help people. It shows them that you care, that you can provide that one-on-one feedback, but you're not spending too long on it that everyone else is starting to feel a bit either embarrassed, either they're embarrassed or the others are feeling a bit left out. All right. So my basic intro into clogging. Okay. And I've probably developed my technique from Jeff Driggs from years ago that we had a chat about. So if I've got more than 6 people in a beginner's class, I try to put them in a circle. It's very natural for people facing around the circle, right? It's very natural for beginners to move forward because it's like walking, right? We're not asking them to march on the spot. So they naturally will move forward. So if you have a circle that's moving around, it's a really nice, easy progression for them. They don't have to worry. If you don't have 6 people, don't do it. It feels weird. Put them in a line, that's fine. And lines, I guess they'll move forward, and then you just have to ask them to shuffle back, and then they'll move forward and you ask them to shuffle back. So it's just, if you have a few people, a circle's a really nice way to get people moving. Don't be bogged down on technique. Okay. Now, I know lots of people try to get that double toe action happening in the first week because they're like, well, that's what clogging is. That's what people see as clogging. I'm telling you, people are there just to move and to have fun. So people are not going to have as much fun if they're getting bogged down in the technique. They will have more fun if they feel like they're achieving and they're successful and they're keeping up with everybody else and they're enjoying what they're doing. Okay. Nobody week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, probably for the first 6 months at least, they're not worried about being the best clogger out there. Okay. Obviously, I'm not talking competition clogging. I'm talking recreational clogging. They're just there to have a good, fun time and settle in and meet people and feel part of something. All right. Use words that a raw beginner is going to understand or relate to. So I don't teach people the terminology of a rock step. Okay. I just don't think that it makes no sense for a non-dancer to come in and go, what's a rock? And you don't actually want me to rock back. You want me to push up and down. So it's really odd. My technique, and again, this is all about how I do it. I use the word run. So I will get people in a circle. Let's just go with that because it's easier. And I'll just get them to do a kick and step, kick and step, kick and step, kick and step. And I ask them not to kick too high. All right. We're not in some military precision thing, just a little kick out, little kick out, little kick out. I'll put the music on and we'll just do kick steps for, 16 beats, whatever. Then what I get them to do is 3 kick steps. And then I ask them to do 2 runs. Now, if you just pull someone off the street and you said, can you run 8 times in place for me? I will nearly guarantee you they're on the balls of their feet and they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the balls of their feet, because that's a run to the general population, right? So I ask them to do 3 kick steps and 2 runs, and I do it with them, and I say, okay, we're going to call it a triple, because triple means 3, and we've done 3 kick steps, and then you just got to remember the 2 little runs on the end. So we practice it on the left foot, and then we practice it on the right foot, okay? And you can be sing-song about it. Your cueing timing is really important. So if I was saying, all right, we're going to do 2 triples, right, and I want them to go pretty slow, I'll be like, ready, go, kick step 1, kick step 2, kick step 3, run, and again, kick step 1, kick step 2, kick step 3, run, okay? As they get more confident, if I say 5, 6, ready, go, kick 1, kick 2, kick 3, run, and a 1, and a kick, run. The way I'm saying it, the timing is very different, and they know what's expected, okay? So use your voice to create the timing for the students. And it also means if it happens in a circle, quite often they'll run, like they'll get excited and they'll actually run. And your voice will control their speed, okay? So if they're racing, you just need to really go and kick, step, kick, step, kick, step. You will pull them back, all right? So use your voice when you do that. So use those words that a raw beginner is going to understand and relate to. Like I said, a run, okay, or kick and step. It's just, they're just general terms that someone's going to know. So I really would only do 45 minutes for a beginner in the first, for quite a while, because it's a real mental strain. You've not only got people who are coming in having to learn new footwork, okay? They're having to learn how to move their body and move their balance appropriately. But the biggest trick, okay, for even if you compare most other dancing, jazz, tap, hip hop, line dancing, whatever, is they learn a routine, right? But what we're trying to get people to do is learn the step and learn that process of hearing what someone says and then do it, right? So that's a whole new level of, getting the instruction from the cue into their brain, translating it into this new world that they're just learning and getting their feet to do it. Okay, so it's a really big process. So 45 minutes, I find, is long enough. They're a bit brain dead by the end of it. And they're like, they will go away not exhausted, but having a good time. All right. If you push it out and you're like, oh, I'm going to have, an hour class or an hour and a half class just for the beginners, and we're going to smash through stuff, they are going to be so exhausted and brain dead that the fun level has kind of started to drop off. Okay, you can probably push it to an hour, but you want to maybe have a little break in the middle, because honestly, at this level, they'll just be overwhelmed. Okay, so as I said, would teach a triple first. Straight after that, I would get them into doing a chain. And I'll say to them, this is like you've got to link things together, right? It's a little chain. And what we're going to do is 1 kick step, and then we're going to run. Okay, and we're going to run for 7. You get 7. I always do that, even with them, and it just shows that I'm human too. And or I'll say, we're going to kick, step, and run until I say 4, right? And they'll do it, guys. They will kick, step, run, step. And what I'll say to them, I always finish after 1, right, before we then walk through on the other foot, just so they know where it starts and finishes. But the biggest trick with that is that people will run, like literally run, and they get excited, and you're like, oh, whoa, slow down, don't get, we're not in the Olympics this year. So yeah, then we'll practice triples and chains together. But I might do 4 triples, then 4 chains, then 4 triples, then 4 chains, and then we might mix it up and we'll go 2 triples, 2 chains, 2 triples, 2 chains, something like that. And I'm just putting on music that I like, or I think has a really good beat. It's got to have a good beat at this level. Like I said, they've got plenty of other stuff going on. The last thing they want to have to do is try and find a beat in some, wishy-washy music. So You know, country is really good for that because it just has that strong beat. Megan Trainor songs, it's like she just writes song like music for clogging, I reckon. So yeah, there's just pick a range of songs. I like using real rock around the clock, 9 to 5. You know, things that people of all different ages and genres can actually relate to, because you got to make it fun for this random group of people that have walked in your hall. All right. So you don't even have to always use the same piece of music for 3 minutes. You can just finish it halfway through. Or if I'm starting to practice this stuff, I'll use Green Grass, for example. I use George Ezra's Green Grass. I use that, and we'll have done a triple and a chain, and then I teach them a basic, which is 1 kick and 2 runs. And I teach that last in that session because it's a very quick transition of weight. Kick, step, run, kick, step, run, kicks. You got to really change it. So I want them to have the kick, step, and run body action, muscle memory kicking in before I have to get them to worry about the quick change. Okay. But triples, chains, and basics are all things I will do. No double toe steps. I do not do double toe steps at this point. I just want them moving to the music. I want them to be starting to listen to my voice. I want them to connect with our class and our club and me. Okay. So that's what's most important for me, at least that first week. I said about using the variety of music. Okay. So I think that's all of that. That's week 1. Okay. Week 2. Again, you might have to start from the beginning. Okay. So our format is that we take beginners for 3 weeks. Because I often find that, someone's really keen and they want to come, but they just can't come that first week, or, they're there that first week. They can't be there the second week, but they'll be back the third week. And you just need to manage, accepting those people for the first couple of weeks. And if you're really open and honest about it, you tell the people week 1, so they know, okay, well, for the next 2 weeks, we are going to kind of revise what we've just done. All right. We're not going to move ahead real quick, at the start. We're going to practice. And I always say to the people at week 1, and we'll be like, now we might have more people next week, but you guys will be the experts. And they kind of go, oh, yes, I am going to know what I'm doing. All right. And some people will be like, oh, thank goodness we're going to do it again, because I just need that. So week 2, you might have to start again from the beginning, pop them in a circle. If you didn't have enough people week 1 for a circle, you may well have enough in week 2, right? So what you're going to teach them is the same, right? Kick, steps, triples, chains, and basics. In my mind, that's what I would be doing. If I want to mix it up a little bit, then I will try to put them in a circle, right? If they didn't have a circle the first week and I've got an extra couple this week, put them in a circle. The new guys, they're not going to know any different. The guys from last week go, oh, this feels different. We can do that, let's do it. So do that. If you did start in a circle and you're looking to, again, you've got brand newbies, it's no big deal to change up something. So at this point, I would then do my chains left and right, and I would chain into the middle, and then I would chain out, right? And I would say that in my cue to them. I'd say, 2 triples, I do that, and then I'll go chain to the left, push it into the middle, and a chain to the right, push it out. Just give them those terminology and the words that they know, they understand, because even if they're not sure, they go, oh, what's a chain? What's a chain? And you've said into the middle, they go, oh, that's right, I got to go that way. Oh, I got to go that way, So yeah, just use those words. I would not teach anything different in week 2, basics, chains, triples. Mix it up a little bit by moving your chains if you need to. Use the same pieces of music as last week. At this point, we're just trying to settle everyone into a bit of a groove, allow predictability, okay? That's okay. It doesn't have to be tricky. Let them anticipate a little bit what's going to come, because it helps them to relax and enjoy the music and enjoy what's happening. If you try to be too tricky and be like, oh, well, I know, we'll do 2 basics and a triple, 2 basics and a chain. Well, yes, they know all those steps, but you've just created a whole, issue where they've got to really concentrate on what you're saying when really what we want them to do is concentrate on their footwork and really get into what they're doing. All right. So week 2, let's talk about week 3. Okay. This is where I would add in a double toe step. If you have any new people, you know, they're not going to really know any different. And excuse me, I'd probably still teach basic chain and triple, but much quicker, because you're going to find you've only got a couple of people perhaps that are new in week 3. And, you know, you can pull them aside later to try and just help them through a little bit. But at this point's where I add in my double toe. And if you've been successful with their little kick and step, kick and step, kick and step, their foot's almost going where it needs to go for a double toe, right? So we practice double toes. We teach, I use all the, you know, flicking chewing gum off your shoe, point your toe, slap your toe down. You've got to have a whole range of little explanations for a double toe. But once you do it, practice them in a row. Do 8 double toes, you know, 16 double toes. I tell beginners to, you know, practice it in the shopping aisle. Like when you're pushing your shopping cart, just do double toe steps all down the aisle. No one's going to know. They're looking in their own carts. So, you know, get them to practice their double toes, then add them in and say to them, guys, this is, you know, you fall back if you're struggling with the double toe tonight because it's brand new. We don't expect that you're going to have it perfect. Just go back to kick steps, you know? So you're actually giving them an option to fall back into if they are struggling with a double toe. We're not making them feel as though they're not successful. They're still dancing with everyone else. They just then know they're going to have to work on that. All right. Moving forward. So from probably week 4 onwards, then these are some options I look at. Louisianas are really good because they're good practice of double toes moving forward. I then explain it's 2 steps back, turn around, and 2 steps forward. I find that is much easier than just saying to them, do 4 steps to the back, because they're like, wait, which way do I go? Where do I turn? You know, give them something specific to do. And I like slurs because I find that they're quite a versatile step to then progress with. So I will teach slur steps. So double step, drag, don't take your foot off the ground, drag it behind you, and then step back onto it. That's my basic explanation. And I would then practice with doing 2 slur steps and a chain to the left, because they know a chain and they're really confident. That's normally the 1 step they're really confident with because they just got to run. And with their body momentum, okay, they slur left, and it's like a natural progression to keep going left. And then you bring them back, 2 slur steps and a chain to the right. It's just body flow and where your weight is. A chain is easier. If you do a triple or, you know, something different that you might be teaching, it kind of makes their body, you know, they're moving to the left and then go, whoa, now I've got to go forward potentially. So just think about your body flow when you're teaching things. Make it easy for them. Okay. So 2 slur steps and a chain will work, 2 slur steps and a triple, bring them back. Then you can start to build, right? You've got slur basics. So I have a bit of fun with them. I tell them, you know, they didn't know that they were coming to algebra class, but A plus B equals C, and a slur step plus a basic equals a slur basic, right? I'm incorporating some logic for them so that they realize, okay, well, that's just 2 steps I know put together. Like, it's not a brand new step. It's just something I know. We're going to put it together and easy peasy, right? So slur basic. So from that slur step, I've already got 3 different combinations I can do. And then I'll teach a clog over slur. So I used to teach just a normal clog over with a double toe at the back. But I had one group and they were, you know, just struggling with getting that double toe step at the back and then continuing. So I swapped it out and put a slur step in there. And, you know, it was like a bit of an aha moment for me, because I just think a clog over slur is easy. It practices double toes. I tell them it's 3 doubles moving left, slur at the back, 3 doubles moving left, and a run. And it just breaks it into a little pattern that they can then kind of remember. And I will do clog over slurs for a long, long time until I feel they're really good at it and they've got the double toes happening and, transition steps, they're starting to be more confident. And then just one random week, I'll be like, okay, you know what? Let's put a double at the back. And then when I do cue it for a long time, I'll say clog over vine, the double at the back. Just to give them that little cue that, oh, this is the one with the double, not a clog over slur. So yeah, you get a good variety of steps just leading from that one slur action. It also gives you a few weeks to allow for any extra newbies, okay, to come in, because you've still only got basics, chains, triples, and slur combinations, right? So the people from week 1 feel like they're progressing. The people from week 3 don't feel like they're too far behind. Okay, so that's kind of how I would do stuff. I don't think I can go back. Let me tell you one more thing in a second. A pro tip. This is one of the things I always remember. You only have to be 1 week ahead of your dancers. Okay. So don't think that you need to be prepared 5 weeks out and you have to know exactly what you're going to do, because your dancers are not going to progress every year the same as what last year did. So you've got to be able to be flexible and fluid. So, really just go, okay, well, tonight, this is where we were at. They did really well with that. So next week, I actually might do 2 new moves. Or, you know what, I'm going to revise double toes and I'm going to add this. You have to be flexible. So really just try to work that 1 week ahead and you won't be as stressed or freaked out, okay? I was going to say in the last slide, a couple of other steps that I use if I think I don't really want to teach them something whole new clogging wise. So a couple of steps that I'll use, if I feel like we're half an hour into the class and they're all doing really well, I'm like, I need one more thing just to mix this up a little bit. I'll use a boogie, boogie to the left and a boogie to the right. Or I'll teach them an over the log, step 2 steps over the log and then jump 2 steps back and clap. And I've got one of the beginners just loves that step. She just thinks it's the best thing going. So sometimes I'll swap it out. I've got a dance, it'll have a fancy double in it, and she can do it. She can do a fancy double, but sometimes I just mix it up and I'm like, Colleen, this is for you, over the log, so pick some steps like that. Or a stepping jazz box is another one. It's just, I don't do toe heels, just 4 steps, but make it look fancy. You got 3 little filler steps that you can chuck in that are not clogging really, they're just steps that you could teach someone down the street. So use those, have those kind of little things in your toolbox to be able to pull out if you feel like you need to give them something extra that night without having to teach a whole new step. All right. So moving forward past your first few weeks. Now, I hoe down a lot. Anybody who has come to any of my sessions know I really like that. It gives me a good challenge and I feel really in control of what everyone's doing. I feel like I can kind of progress them really nicely how I need to without relying on an exact cue sheet of an exact dance. Okay, so that's a whole nother ball game, but use hoe downing if you can. Once you kind of get past that point and you're looking for dancers, okay, you can either go off the national dance list or you might find something someone else has written or from overseas or whatever. And you might be like, oh, it's just got too many steps in it, right? Use your substitutions. So some of these, like I don't teach 2 brush ups very early on at all because I think it's really tricky to get the combination of a through and up and then a double back down from your foot up in the air to get a double and then have that change of weight. It's really not easy. So I teach a rocking chair first. So we'll get them just doing brush ups on the left foot. And then they still have to practice that double, but they're doing a basic. Again, they know, right? And they come up, lose their balance, and then come back down, and it just resets, ready for the next one. So you can always, if you've got a dance, it's got 2 brush ups, chuck in a rocking chair. If it's got 4 brush ups, 2 rocking chairs. do something that's similar feeling. So when you do want to teach them or transition to the correct step, their body is used to doing something similar. Okay. It will make the transition much quicker. Toe heels, I just put in 2 stomps. I call them pause stomps. Clog over vine, clog over slur. I said that. Clog vine walk or stumble step. So I will teach a hit step like I do a slur step, right? As in, I can then use it for lots of stuff. So if I teach them a hit step, double step, hit your heel on the floor and step on it, I'll teach them, I'll start with 3, right? So they can practice 3 hit steps and we put a basic on the end, 3 hit steps back and a basic. Then I will do 2 hit steps and a chain, 2 hit steps and a chain, 1 hit step and a basic, just so that they understand that a hit step is singular, double step, hit step, right? Then they understand I've said 3 or I've said 2 or I've said 1. But once you've done a hit step, right, like a slur, you can mix it around if you're hoedowning stuff, but it can replace your clog vine walk, right? Or it can even replace a stumble step. And I found this year when I used hit steps wherever there were stumble steps. And then when I felt they were comfortable with that routine, I'll be like, okay, we're going to do this step called a stumble step, which is really like a hit step, but you miss the ground. So double step, kick it out. Don't hit your heel on the ground, but step down like normal. Double step, kick and step. So their body is really kind of ready for that. Anyway, that's what I mean by picking steps that are similar so that you can transition a bit easier. Fancy doubles, I just replace with over the logs. Hillbillies and outhouses, like they're really the same thing. I actually teach an outhouse first. I think it's easier for them to actually know where their feet are going rather than just in place. I find if I teach a hillbilly first, they tend to put their weight on that toe touch, and it's really difficult to undo that. Whereas when they're doing an outhouse, they know they've got to sort of lift it and they don't have time. Anyway, that's what I find. Joeys and chains. So a joey is really just, when I teach a chain, because I've taught it as a run rather than rock and step, a joey is basically the same thing, just fancy footwork, all right, where you put your feet. So that's a nice little transition there. Heel toe combos, I will often use just 4 heel steps and 2 basics. That replaces it. And then Charleston brushes, they're good to either just do Charlestons or heel toe combos, or we've got a few dancers at the moment that are a little bit trendy with heel toe stamps in it as opposed to a heel toe combo. And you could, chuck those in there too. All right, so don't be frightened to have a cue sheet. I've got cue sheets from our national dance list. It's got pencil marks all over it from where I'm substituting stuff out until, I can just then build on it. And they're used to that dance and they enjoy that dance. And I go, you know what, guys, I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit. We've got 2 steps in here. We just need to learn. And they're fine because the rest of the dance they can just do and relax. All right, it's not like a whole new thing they've got to do. All right, don't forget the focus. All right. So fun, number 1. They have to have fun. All right. Smile, laugh, joke, make mistakes. Like pick on yourself. Be lighthearted about it. They're just there to have fun. No one's, playing for sheep stations at the moment. They're there to move. All right. So just get them moving to different types of music. All right. Some people really like Irish. Some people really like rock and roll. Some like country. Some like pop. Some like classical. Like I use the Lonely Goat Herd music, pull it all out, guys. They just want to learn something new, have fun, dance to some music. All right, get a bit of exercise. Best way, if someone's like, oh, I just need to lift my fitness, get them to lift their knees higher. Right, once you get them to lift their knees higher, they're going to actually start to feel it a little more and speed up the music. Like no one wants to dance to real slow stuff. So speed it up. And I'm not saying go crazy. I mean, I used to go crazy with the speed, but you want it to be comfortable to dance. And that's the thing too with beginners. Beginners are slow and they may well say to you, God, my legs were aching after last week, right? That's okay to a degree, but I often will say to people, think about if you're going to do a squat. right? So if I got you to just, you know, squat, you know, down and up and down and up and down and up, and I said to just normal squats at a reasonable pace, 10 of them. And then I said to you, okay, I want you to do 10 slow squats, like go down and then up. All right. And you think about what's going to hurt you the most, and the slow ones are going to hurt you. Right. And if you've never done them, just be careful, but go have it a crack. Right. Because squats just kill if you go real slow. Clogging's the same. All right. If you go real slow, it's effectively a slow squat. So don't go too slow. Use some music that's upbeat, that isn't fast, but, you know, progressively just increase the speed to a comfortable kind of tempo that doesn't hurt people. All right. And remember, you guys, for them to have fun, they need to feel a sense of achievement. So don't make it hard, right? If that means that for 12 months, they're just going to plod along and learn one step a week, you know, not even. Well, you might have some time off. So they might learn, you know, 30 steps. Who cares? And they might not even be perfect. Who cares? They're just there to have fun. Okay. Be flexible each week. So if someone, you know, if you plan, oh, I'm going to teach an outhouse this week, and half of them are not there because it's a long weekend and, you know, they forgot clogging was even on, don't teach it, right? Don't teach that new step. Just put on something, you know, that they could do, substitute out stuff. It might be a couple of new songs, but you sub them out. You have to be ready. You have to be flexible. So that's a little skill to practice, that you could automatically look at a cue sheet and go, this has got brush ups. I'm going to change that to rocking chairs. That's got a clog over, slow, whatever. But be ready, okay, because you have to be flexible, and don't show your frustration if you can help it. I often say it's really tricky for me because my face gives everything away, always has. But yeah, you need to try and not show your frustration. Okay. I also said, I think the other night, you know, somebody said to me once, we can get really disheartened when we've got half our classes away, you know, and you think, far out, I've had to come out in this rain. How come they don't have to? And somebody had said to me once, you just have to put on the best night you can for the people who have come out. You know, they're the ones who have dedicated their time and fought the rain to come out with you. So the least you can do is put on the best night you can for them. All right. So try to do that even for your beginners. All right. It can be stressful. It can be frustrating when you're trying to progress a group and they're really transient. Okay. And you might have two different classes. My Monday nighters, you know, they're just there every week, right? Friday night, not so much, because they'll have family arrive, or work drinks are on this week, or, you know, I'm going away, whatever, right? So Friday nights is a lot more transient than Monday nights that are just there. So that means you can progress that group a bit quicker than that group. All right. So be flexible, guys. All right. So question and answer time that we had. Some tips and things that we spoke about. Didn't really talk about too many of these, really. I talked about people who don't come weekly. Somebody did ask me about transitioning. I think that's really the main thing I remember talking about that night. How you transition beginner groups into your existing groups. And sometimes it just means picking a dance or a couple of dances where it's new for everybody. So everybody starts on a level playing field. So this year, we're going to shuffle our dances from the 7 to 7:30 time slot, because we'll start new beginners at 7. We'll shuffle them to 7:30. And yeah, and we'll probably, you know, use that as a warm-up of things they already know. And then after, or getting closer to the 8 o'clock mark, where we get the other beginners back up for their second lot, we might teach them a dance that's new for them and new for everybody else. So we might teach them a new step. So you might have the last year's beginners have to learn, for example, a Samantha. Everybody else knows a Samantha, but they don't know this dance. So they actually don't mind going through the Samantha because the whole dance is new for them too. So little things like that you can do to kind of blend them in a little bit, or you use that substitution, right? So you use the dances that your easy and immediate guys can do, and you swap out a couple of steps. Or sometimes I will say, okay, guys, this has got oh, this has got a lorry basic in it, right? And if I don't feel like teaching a lorry basic to last year's beginners, I'll just say, when I say lorry basic, I want you to do a rocking chair, right? So lorry basic equals a rocking chair for you. So I'll do things like that. So then they're still all up dancing together, but we're starting to just blend them in. All right. So that was probably the main chit chat we had, I think, the other night. Anyway, hopefully that catches everybody up a little bit. And I do apologize, I didn't record the actual original session. If you have anything, any questions, you just want to run through something, you want to know how I would teach a step or what I would do in a certain situation, please don't hesitate to reach out and contact me, text, phone, email, Facebook message, whatever. All right, team. Thank you, everybody, and happy beginner classes. And stop sharing and bye.